national intelligence. There's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an anti-vaxxer who is Trump's choice to run the Department of Health and Human Services. And there's Kash Patel, who has published an actual enemies list and whom Trump would like to have run the FBI. And then there is Trump's closest ally, his largest donor, and now his apparent co-president, Elon Musk, a man who has already brought the country to the brink of a government shutdown. Last week, Musk whipped hardline House Republicans into a frenzy, tanking a bipartisan agreement to fund the government through the end of the year and threatening the shutter of the entire federal government. That mess finally ended when House Democrats bailed out Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and provided the votes to fund the government despite the fact that Democrats' key priorities, already agreed to by the Speaker, that those priorities were ultimately tossed out. But the rebellion that Elon Musk fomented among House Republicans, that rebellion is not over. 1 week from today, House Republicans will have to vote on who they want to be the next Speaker in the next Congress. House Republicans have already proven themselves quite adept at devolving into a protracted speakership fight. Remember that in January of 2023, 2 years ago, it took them 5 days and 15 votes to finally elect a speaker, Kevin McCarthy. But this time, the stakes are even higher and the majority is even narrower. If Republicans do not choose a speaker within 3 days of this new Congress, they may not be able to certify the election results on January 6th. You heard that correctly. We may be barreling toward another January 6th election certification debacle, only this time it's about whether Republicans can get over the infighting in their own conference to certify a member of their own party as President of the United States. I mean, it's one way to kick off 2025. Happy New Year. Joining us now are Bulwark podcast co-host Tim Miller and Washington Post national columnist Philip Baum. Thank you guys both for being here. I mean, let me just survey both of you. Philip, Tim, who here believes that we're going to have a speaker on January 6th? I'll start with you, Philip.
Oh, yeah, I was already raised my hand. Yeah, I mean, look, Republicans in Congress are focused on one thing, and that's keeping Donald Trump happy. And nothing is going to frustrate Donald Trump more than if anything happens to delay his becoming president. I am entirely confident, even if it is on some, sort of ad hoc, cobbled together, you get to be speaker for the next 48 hours thing, like some sort of condition to it. I mean, look, they put a condition on Kevin McCarthy's speakership that ended up having him booted. They are very adept at coming up with a temporary solution, and I am 100% confident that no one wants to be the one that made it so that Donald Trump's January 6th didn't go exactly the way he hoped the last one did.
100% confidence from Philip Baum. This program is live, but it will be available on tape. I just want to put it out there.
That's fair.
Tim,
I'll stand by it.
Okay. Listen, I applaud the confidence. Tim, sure. Do you think that Republicans will prove themselves adept at making sure Donald Trump can certify his election results?
I don't know if I'd use the word adept, but I think that they will stumble into it. I'm with Philip, maybe 97%. I'm going to hedge by 3%. But look, the other option, though, you have to consider is maybe Kamala Harris will have the courage. Right? That's just a joke to intervene. But look, these guys, Mike Johnson is a dead man walking, politically speaking. He, I think, will probably survive the January 3rd vote because it's hard to beat somebody with nobody. But he is managing a majority that is much smaller than the one that Kevin McCarthy couldn't manage. He's already proven incapable of managing it without Trump not even in the presidency yet. And we have a debt ceiling fight coming in mid-January. They've only kicked the can for 3 months on government funding. That comes in March. There's going to be a huge fight over extending the Trump tax cuts that there is disagreement about within the conference. We already saw just this week, Christmas week, they're all fighting over immigration, Elon Musk versus the nativists. The idea that Mike Johnson is capable of navigating this is, I think, preposterous. So Mike Johnson's time is coming. I don't think it'll be January 6th.
I mean, the idea that anybody is able to navigate this seems... I'm not saying that Mike Johnson is necessarily one of the great speakers of all times. But it's just such an impossible position to find yourself in when you have a hard right president with a hard right agenda. And the only way, Philip, you know this well, the only way things get passed in the House is if Democrats bail Republicans out. And I guess my question is, does the new reality that Democrats aren't going to be sort of staving off crisis for a Democratic president the way they have been in the Biden years, but it'll be Trump that's holding the bag? That to me suggests that Democrats may be less inclined to deal make and save Republican butts when the rubber hits the road. And I kind of wonder what your expectations are for much getting done in the next Congress, even if Donald Trump, is the puppet master of the House Republican Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea that a whole lot's going to pass in Congress is you're right. I think that's probably incorrect. I think, too, the Democrats will probably give them plenty of rope with which to hang themselves. Like, it seems very obvious that they're going to be more than willing to let the Republicans step on their toes for a while before they actually come and bail them out. But at the end of the day, the central dynamic here is that the currency of the Republican Party at this point in time is attention and anger, right? And the reason that you have this segment of the caucus that doesn't want to pass these bills is because they recognize that they can derive more value from their audience by being obstructionist and by saying, no, we shouldn't fund the government and, all this money's wasteful and yada, yada, yada. The Democratic Party is more, I would say, overwhelmingly, if not entirely, dedicated to the idea the government should actually do stuff. So they step in to do it, not because they're trying to save Mike Johnson or save Donald Trump, obviously, but because they think the government needs to be funded and the government needs to do things. The Republican Party, fundamentally, there are more than a dozen people in the House Republican caucus who just don't believe that. They believe that it's more important to be on Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and all these channels and be able to be the one saying, I don't think the government should spend your money, yada, yada, yada. And they just aren't committed to the government in the same way. And so that's how we end up with these.
Well, right. So if it comes down to basic sort of functionality, Democrats may end up saving the day. But Tim, to your point, when Donald Trump, who has said over and over again he intends to renew his tax cuts, which disproportionately benefit the ultra wealthy, when it comes time to pass that's not going to be done with Democratic help. And I guess I wonder, given the narrower majorities, how much in peril do you think Trump's legislative agenda is in reality?
I think it really is. And this isn't just kind of hopium for resistance opposers to Trump. It's just an analysis of what's happening. I spent last week in Phoenix for that Turning Point USA conference. It was a year-end gathering of all the big MAGA luminaries, if you want to call them that. And these folks just don't agree on anything. To Philip's point, like what animates them is blocking things, is stopping foes, is opposing the Democrats, is opposing the globalists, And so the idea that they're all going to unify when you need every single Republican vote, maybe you can give up one or two to pass the Trump tax cuts. Look, again, maybe they'll give Trump one thing at the beginning because they want to, not totally derail his presidency right out of the jump. Republicans might be chaotic and self-sabotaging, but maybe they're not quite that self-sabotaging. So maybe they can all row together for one vote. But it's hard to see much more passing after that, especially, again, given the narrow majorities in the House, but then also in the Senate.
Yeah, well, can we talk about the Senate for a minute, Philip? Because we had a brief nod to the Gates report that came out belatedly. I wonder how much you think, given the reality of how, the complicated dynamics in the House, which in some ways may provide cover in the Senate if they want to buck Trump, the failure of Matt Gaetz, the controversy that is swirling around three of his very important picks, including Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel, and the fact that Trump's a lame duck. I mean, he's not, in theory, according to the Constitution, he's not going to be president again. And I wonder if that gives some cover to Republicans who don't actually want to walk the plank on some of the nonsense that Trump has put out in the ether.
Yeah, I think it's very likely. I mean, one of the things we've talked about ever since Trump won the election is, there's a lot of pressure on Democrats. They're going to have to sort of pick their fights in these nomination battles. But I've said, and I think on your show before, I've said, the Republicans are in the same boat. They need to decide.
If you're donating to St. Jude, you're supporting finding a cure because the fight never stops.
Every gift counts, and whatever you can give will make a difference for children like Gideon. Make your donation today to help St. Jude save lives.
That's $225 for the night.
Not bad.
$155 for the night.
How?
It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%. Hotel Trivago.
Diarrhea can have many different causes. Whichever the cause, Kaopectate is your solution. It gives you fast, effective relief of upset stomach and diarrhea. And it doesn't just treat the symptoms, it gets right to the source of diarrhea. Kaopectate relieves diarrhea and upset stomach fast.
My hair was thinning all around my hairline.
My dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. It's 100% drug-free and clinically tested.
My hair is longer, thicker.
Nutrafol is life-changing for me.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
Are you tired of that old worn-out bath or shower? Now you can have a new one installed in just one day with a new limited-time offer from Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. We're waiving all installation costs with no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Jacuzzi has been making water feel great for over 70 years. And now you can get a gorgeous custom bath remodel at a price you can afford with no stress and no mess.
I've been trying to get him to remodel that bath for years. I called and they did in just one day.
And at a price we could afford.
Every time I stepped over my old tub, I worried I might fall. I don't have those fears anymore.
With Jacuzzi, you can get a safer, easy entry shower to keep you feeling comfortable and independent at home. Your new Jacuzzi bath or shower is waiting. Now is the best time to call.
Call or go online right now. We are waiving all installation costs and offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-319-4208. Call now.
If you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints 10, even 20 years. Imagine you could do this without products that just temporarily hide the symptoms. Imagine no more. Instaflex Advanced. Get a complimentary sample just by texting KNEE to 231231. Instaflex Advanced is different because it targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms. Instead, it bathes your joints in its unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, you could have better knees in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's #1 at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary sample by texting KNEE to 231231. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream with its exclusive oxygenated oil for fast-acting relief from the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles, absolutely free. Text KNEE to 231231.
Stay informed on the biggest issues of the day. MSNBC has you covered wherever you are. Watch, read, and listen. For the in-depth coverage and analysis you need, stay with MSNBC.
Nothing says happy holidays like a conservative civil war on the internet. The so-called Doge faction of Trump's coalition, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, is now openly feuding with Trump's anti-immigrant MAGA wing. The infighting broke out after Trump named an Indian-American venture capitalist, Sriram Krishnan, to be his advisor on artificial intelligence. That immediately triggered racially charged backlash from far-right activists like Laura Loomer, who said Krishnan's appointment and his vocal support for green cards for highly skilled workers was deeply disturbing and in direct opposition to Trump's agenda. Musk and Ramaswamy strongly disagreed and fired back with separate online posts that backed both Krishnan and foreign-born workers. Back with me now, our Bulwark podcast co-host Tim Miller and Washington Post national columnist Philip Bump. Also joining the discussion is Washington Post national investigative reporter Carol Leonnig. We have almost, 2 Washington Post reporters, 1 Bulwark reporter, all awesome people. Thank you guys for joining me on this holiday Friday night. Carol, let me start with you. This puts Donald Trump in a remarkably awkward position, not just because 2 of his friends are fighting openly and on the internet and with, a deep divide between them, but also because Trump might actually have to weigh in on policy specifics. Do you have any sense of where he might land? Do you have any intuition about how he's going to side in this fight?
You know what, I think the best answer to that question, Alex, is past his prologue. And when we watch Donald Trump as president in the first term, the most important question he constantly asked his advisors, whether it be his chief of staff or Miller or Steve Bannon, what he asked over and over again in those early months of his presidency, and then later, was, what about my base? How will this go with my base? So important to him. I feel like one thing that's really critical to Donald Trump is making sure that base is happy. And right now, this little civil war is like a Christmas present, essentially a late Christmas present, to people who have been sort of waiting to see the first fractures in the Donald Trump firmament for the second term. Those who questioned how long Elon Musk would stand for some of the policies that really got Trump his incredible popularity ratings in this first term. It's clear he's going to have to cool this down in some way, and whether or not he steps in and makes a policy pronouncement, I'm not so sure. But I think he's going to find a way to get some cold water on this as quickly as possible, because he doesn't want his base talking about how Donald Trump is sort of listening to the circus master Elon Musk tell him how to bring in more foreign workers because Americans have a culture of mediocrity, as was implied in some of the postings by Vivek Ramaswamy and also by Elon Musk in the last couple of days.
Yeah, I want to get to those posts in a minute, Tim, but the notion, I mean, I think Carol's so spot on in highlighting the fact that Trump is concerned with his base. And like, newsflash, a billionaire immigrant Silicon Valley tech bro, not Trump's base. At a point, if it's the Elon Musk sort of shadow president thing, or the Elon Musk is not one of us thing, something is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back here. It's hard for me to imagine that at some point, and maybe some point soon, Trump is going to have to betray his friendship with Musk.
Yeah, look, there's some natural tensions here, and it is appropriate that I'm coming at you from my parents' basement because in order to understand all of the characters, because you have to be deep into the MAGA online world to understand the fractures and the fighting here. But the short of it is this: Trump added in this kind of tech bro world, like just use it as shorthand. You have Musk, you have Rogan, but you have even kind of smarter, more VC type tech folks like Mark Andreessen. You know, they sort of played pretend on the culture war. They're happy to go along with the culture war when it came to COVID. They were happy to go along with the culture war when it comes to trans people. All these other random things, that sprout up on the MAGA right. But this immigration issue is core to that tech part of the audience. Meanwhile, the Steve Bannon wing, if you will, of MAGA, the ultra MAGA wing, nativism and being anti-immigrant is core to them. So, this is a fight that you can't really, find a common ground solution.
Philip, I agree with Tim. I mean, this is not just some holiday kerfuffle. This is a significant, this is a real one. This is a big one. And I'm old enough to remember, Philip, the Republican National Convention when Trump supporters all had mass deportation now signs. This is the thing that gets them fired up. How do you see, from the sort of political perspective, the cleave between the sort of wealthy tech bro coastal Republican elite, they do exist, and the MAGA base? How do you see that being translated into the halls of Congress, where they're going to have to find funding for a lot of this?
All right. Yeah. Well, this to some extent gets to the question of how much power is Donald Trump going to have now that he's a lame duck, right? Now that his power is only going to be exerted fundamentally in Republican primaries. Like, how much clout does that bring to bear? How much do Republicans actually worry about that? My guess is over the short term in particular, they worry about it quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, the divide that we're seeing here is really fascinating and entirely predictable, as everyone has pointed out, right? The MAGA movement has a fundamental strain of this identity politics of white grievance, which when you talk about things like, they were willing to talk about, oh, DEI is this terrible thing, and some of that was sincere and a lot of it was disingenuous, to Tim's point. But this is really a question of there are a lot of Trump supporters who fundamentally do not believe that any immigrants should come into the country and have jobs that could potentially be done by Americans. And so Elon Musk, for example, he has a lot of people that he's hired at his businesses. He has a lot of people who are working at Tesla, for example, who are immigrants on work visas, who he has a lot of respect for. He doesn't fundamentally understand that there are also a lot of immigrants who do work in the agricultural field and so on and so forth. This is another example of where Musk is falling into the Dunning-Kruger trap of not really knowing what he's talking about. And so even for him, there's an inconsistency. He doesn't get that there's a similarity here. And so because of that, because you have both this tension on immigration and identity broadly within the MAGA movement, and because you have Musk who doesn't fully understand what he's talking about, the ramifications of what he's pushing forward on, then you get this tension. And it's not clear that Donald Trump is going to be able to pull everyone together, because at some point in time, Republicans are going to understand he's not the key to their future.
Yeah, Carol, you mentioned Vivek Ramaswamy's tweets, which get at the fundamental sort of difference here between the MAGA base and the Doge coalition. I don't even know how big the Doge coalition is beyond Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. But anyway, at any event, Vivek Ramaswamy, in a very long post on X, said, among other things, our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence, and he blamed 90s TV shows like Friends and Family Matters. Trump saying Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. I mean, I'm just not sure that like a tech bro, a wealthy tech bro, telling Americans they're mediocre and lazy is a perfectly fine-tuned message for the Trump base. What is your opinion of this, Carol?
Rather than opinion, I think I would just stick with some reporting and say, Elon Musk kind of waved into this drama to try to, explain Vivek's point, at least from the tech bro perspective, and try to calm the waters a little. But he ultimately doubled down and started to roil the waters even more. And to your point, Alex, this is not ideal for the numbers, the true quantity, if you will, of voters who got Trump elected. You're so right to point out how big is the Doge coalition. The Doge coalition is as big as its pocketbook. That is its value, right? That's what's important, is the billions of dollars that are behind all the folks who helped Trump get elected. But in terms of numbers and votes and showing up for midterm elections, it's people who are like, what are you saying? What did Elon Musk's actual quote, I believe, was something along the lines of, in America, we don't have enough extremely talented and extremely motivated people who can work in my tech industry. And that is pretty striking. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. But what a striking thing to say to the MAGA base, which got Trump elected and said, we have to do something about Americans. We have to stop, these people coming across the border, feeding off our economy, taking away from our children's school time. We need somebody to look out for Americans. To say you're not motivated or excellent enough in your field, Donald Trump's going to have to come in some way and swoop in on this one.
Remember when Tucker Carlson was talking very animatedly about daddy coming home to spank someone? Now we know who maybe those people are. Tim Miller, Philip Bump, Carol Enning, superstars, friends of the show. Thank you for your time tonight. Really appreciate you. Coming up, is Canada on track to become the 51st state? Donald Trump thinks so. That's coming up. But first, how did we get here? We're going to take a look back at the warning signs from 2024. That's next.
For more than a decade, Farxiga has been trusted again and again and again. Farxiga. Ask your doctor about Farxiga.
We need your help. Go online, call, or scan this code to support WWF's global conservation efforts by symbolically adopting an elephant for only $16 a month. It's just 53 cents a day to protect wildlife and their habitats. Do it in the next 5 minutes, and you'll get this free adoption kit with this plush keepsake. Go online, call, or scan to help make a difference today.
I've lost 228 pounds on Golo. I'm able to enjoy my life and keep off the weight. That's why Golo works so well for me.
Golo has been really empowering for me. I just recently purchased my first swimsuit since high school.
Golo's different. It's smarter, it's better, it will change your life forever.
Golo is the only thing that gave me this. It gave me back me.
Go lose weight. Go look great. And go love life. Head to Golo.com. That's GOLO.com.
Muscle cramps were keeping me up at night, so then I tried Slomag, the magnesium plus calcium supplement that helps relax tense muscles so I can rest comfortably. And Slomag tablets have a slow-release formula that's gentle on my stomach. That's why I use Slomag.
University of Maryland Global Campus is a school for real life, one that values the successes you've already achieved. Earn up to 90 undergraduate credits.
And nausea. Weight loss, faster. Confidence, higher. Price, cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan cannon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Ooh, nasty.
Is it bad?
I wouldn't even worry about it because Prize Picks is hooking you up with $50 instantly. Insight credits when you play your first $5 lineup.
Think I need a second opinion.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. You may not ever ball again.
Never.
But on the bright side, Prize Picks still got you with that $50 inside credit.
New members, download the app and play $5 to get $50 instantly in site credits with code TV.
Probably should have told them we weren't real doctors.
At over $4 a blade, shaving every day gets expensive. Harry's 5-blade razor offers me a close, comfortable shave. Best part, refills are as low as $2 each, half of what I paid before.
Go to harrys.com/shave to claim your $7 trial.
Donald Trump won the popular vote in the 2024 election by just 1.5%. But he won all 7 swing states, including the blue wall states of Michigan and Pennsylvania, both currently governed by Democrats. In the closing weeks before the election, I traveled to both of those states. And in both of them, the warning signs for Democrats were there in plain sight. In Saginaw, Michigan, which is the only county in the state to vote for every presidential winner since 2008. In Saginaw, I spoke to dozens of union workers about the election, and this is what they were saying. All right, so by a show of hands, how many of you are paying close attention to this election? Okay, I'm gonna say that's like half the audience. Is anybody undecided? Okay.
I'm undecided because I just haven't seen enough of it yet. I need to pay closer attention and kind of do more independent research before I make my judgment.
What have you caught of this campaign? Have there been news stories about the candidates that have made its way to your information feed?
Not particularly. It's just how people kind of act around this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little crazy, so I try not to partake so much.
I'm supporting Kamala Harris because I've seen 4 years. Well, actually, I've seen 9 years of Donald Trump. We have to move our country forward. I think Kamala Harris, generation like that, younger than myself, needs to start moving this country forward. Donald Trump is pulling us backwards, not moving us forward. That's why I support Kamala Harris. Young people, there's a lot of young people in this room. I see the policies of Kamala Harris, the Infrastructure Act, that's put most of these people here back to work for pretty much their entire career at a good wage that they can support their family and own a home and build generational wealth.
President Biden is the most pro-working president we've ever had. The only president to be on a picket line and to support working families. Infrastructure bill, time after time, we've seen him stand up for us.
Do you feel like Vice President Harris is going to be as strong as he was?
I do.
Who here is voting for the first time? Is this anybody's first election? You guys back here. What's sort of made its way across your radar? Any stories or issues or positions?
Mostly just immigration.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What about immigration have you been paying attention to?
There are thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants coming across the border every day, and the vice president has done minimal work to fix that based on what I've seen. So I'd like that to change.
Do you feel like Donald Trump's going to be better on that issue?
Based on what we've seen on his first 4 years, I do believe that he will be better on that, yeah.
Are you leaning towards Trump right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that Vice President Harris could do at this point to change your mind?
Not particularly, no. Unless she changes her stance completely on fixing the border. That's no.
This is your first election?
Yeah, it is.
And have you been paying attention to stuff?
Some things, but as of right now, it's kind of hard to know what is true and what's false as far as both parties are concerned.
Like, what issue matters to you the most?
Definitely are issues concerning democracy and what was discussed before the border.
What about immigration concerns you?
The influx in illegal immigration is affecting a lot more than just the people, but our economy, we're losing jobs for the people who live here. People are, running out of work, and in return, it's making life as a whole for the country harder.
Do you feel like one candidate or the other is better on that issue?
Like I said, I don't know what to believe from what I'm seeing from multiple news outlets and what comes across my news feed and whatnot. So I'm not super opinionated either way.
How do you think you're going to ultimately decide? I know we talked to one gentleman who said, I think I'm just going to kind of go with my heart on election day.
As the election comes a little closer, I think the more I see and the more truth that ends up coming out, I'll be able to make a more educated.
How many people care about whether their union endorses a candidate? Is that going to matter to you?
So it matters to me what my union endorses, because the union provides me with work and directly affects my pocketbook and my family.
If the union doesn't endorse a candidate and you're left, to decide on your own, first of all, do you think you're definitely going to vote?
I'm definitely going to vote.
How do you think you're going to ultimately make that decision?
I think I'm still going to be conflicted in the voting line.
Really? So literally a game time call?
I think so.
Is it going to matter what your fellow union members are doing?
It's going to matter.
Do you guys talk about it?
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
And is there disagreement?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right now, it's pretty black and white what's happening, and you go back to where Republicans wanted to make our economy a service economy rather than a manufacturing economy. So do your research on that. Do it, and vote, for Christ's sakes. People around the country, around the world don't have an opportunity. Look around the economy. I mean, we got the CHIPS Acts going on here. There's billions and billions of dollars. Most of these people in this room are benefiting from Biden's CHIPS Act deal, and they don't even know it yet. Do your research. Look at that. Jesus Christ, pull the head out of your ass.
Needless to say, Saginaw County went for Trump again this year. Trump actually saw an increase in union support nationwide, which ate into Kamala Harris's overall margins. And while Democratic campaigns often focused on Trump's criminal indictments, his position on democracy, as well as his stance on abortion, The union workers I spoke to in those closing weeks before Election Day made it clear that those were not the issues that would move them at the polls.
Does anybody have any idea about what's happening in the federal courts relating to Donald Trump's, the January 6th event and what's going on there with Trump? Wait, I'm sorry to keep coming back to you, but so like you haven't talked to me about your level of interest in the criminal charges and so forth.
February 6th?
January 6th.
January 6th. So I remember that day. I know he was the standing president. I'm not familiar with the charges that are being brought against him for that. I'm not following that charge or I know there's multiple court cases going on. I'm just not familiar with it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a factor in deciding who to vote for.
No.
Okay, so when I say January 6th, what do you think?
Oh, I just remember seeing it on the news, like all the riots and stuff. Don't really know what it was about or what happened, though.
How did it make you feel when you saw it?
I don't know. I don't really feel any way about it. People showed their emotion, I guess. Probably in the wrong way, but it happened.
Who here has been following the decisions from the Supreme Court? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing like only a handful. Who here knows what the Dobbs decision is?
Vote 46% of Latinos voted for Donald Trump this year, a 13-point increase in his support compared to 4 years ago. Trump's 46% support among Latino voters also marked the highest support any Republican has gotten with this specific voting bloc ever. When we come back, Donald Trump has talked a big game when it comes to America's role in conflicts around the world, but can he actually deliver? We're going to get a reality check next.
Do your dry eyes still feel gritty, rough, or tired? With MyBo, eyes can feel MyBo. MyBo is the only prescription dry eye drop that forms a protective layer for the #1 cause of dry eye, too much tear evaporation. For relief, that's MyBo. Remove contact lenses before using MyBo. Wait at least 30 minutes before putting them back in. Eye redness and blurred vision may occur. What does treating dry eye differently feel like? MyBo. For relief that feels MyBo. Ask your eye doctor about prescription MyBo.
You're seeing Skechers' famous glide step footwear everywhere. And now that famous design is available in hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Get the comfort and style of glide step now with the convenience of slip-ins with no bending down or touching your shoes. Try glide step Skechers slip-ins.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
They get it. They know how it works. And most importantly, it works for them.
I don't have any anxiety about money anymore.
I don't have to worry about a mortgage payment every month.
It allowed me to live in my home and not have to make payments.
If you're 62 or older and own your home, you could access a portion of your equity to improve your lifestyle. A reverse mortgage loan can eliminate your monthly mortgage payments and put tax-free cash in your pocket.
It was the best thing I've ever done. And
really?
Yes, without a doubt.
These folks know. Finance of America can show you how a reverse mortgage loan uses your built-up home equity to give you tax-free cash.
It's a good thing.
So look, why don't you get the facts like these folks did and see if a reverse mortgage could work for you?
Call Finance of America and get your free info kit.
Call 800-963-9445.
For gentle, dependable constipation relief, try Senecot. It works differently than other laxatives because it's made from the senna plant, a natural vegetable laxative ingredient. Gentle, dependable Senecot. Also available in delicious gummies.
When we accept others' differences, we choose a world where we all have the freedom to live openly, thrive, and live our best lives. At the Human Rights Campaign, we are making this happen for LGBTQ+ people in communities just like yours. Join us today.
Here you go.
Is there any way to get a better price on this?
Have you checked Single Care? Whenever my customers ask how to get a better price on their meds, I tell them about Single Care. It's a free app accepted at pharmacies nationwide.
Before I pick up my prescription, I always check the Single Care price.
It's quick, easy, and totally free to use.
Single Care can literally beat my insurance copay.
You just search for your prescription and show your Single Care coupon at the pharmacy.
So I just show the coupon and get this price?
That's right. Go to singlecare.com and start saving today.
Look at this one under eye bag. It's gone.
There's this side and this side.
Have you seen these videos all over social media and said to yourself, how is that real? It's called Plexiderm, and Plexiderm is clinically studied to help reduce the appearance of under-eye puffiness, wrinkles, and fine lines with results that last up to 10 hours. So try Plexiderm this new year for just $14.95. Visit plexidermtrial.com.
Well, you're in the big leagues now.
How was your vacation, sir? Oh, I needed one.
With your 10% loyalty program discount, that's $225 for the night.
Not bad.
$155 for the night.
Hold up. How?
It's easy when you know where to look.
Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%.
Trivago is my secret tactic.
Hotel Trivago.
See why hand battered is better with the $6 chicken basket. Our 100% white meat chicken is always just a batter dip away from becoming its own golden treasure. Batter up, Make our app your first mate and order ahead to skip the wait. Long John Silver's Fish Share.
Today, U.S. officials have new intelligence linking Russia to a deadly Azerbaijan Airlines crash earlier this week. 38 people were killed on Wednesday when a commercial plane traveling to Russia crashed on the shores of the Caspian Sea. Now, two U.S. military officials tell NBC News that the Russian military may have misidentified the commercial plane as a Ukrainian drone, a mistake that would have triggered air defense systems and shot the plane down. So far, Russian officials have denied those claims and suggested that Ukraine is to blame. This all comes as the Kremlin has rejected President-elect Trump's calls for an immediate ceasefire to end the war in Ukraine. And fears of a wider war have begun to resurface in the Middle East as Israel steps up attacks against the Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen. All of this potential chaos awaits Donald Trump when he enters the White House next month, but he appears to want even more chaos in the form of territorial expansion. This week, Trump escalated his threats to retake control of the Panama Canal, and he doubled down on his desire to take ownership of Greenland, as in Greenland. Joining me now is David Rothkopf, foreign policy expert who worked in the Clinton administration and now hosts the Deep State Radio podcast. David, it's great to have you on the program. Thank you for joining me in the middle of this holiday season. First of all, Donald Trump has made a lot of seemingly unhinged promises. We'll see what comes of them. But the idea that he can end the war in Ukraine in his first 24 hours in office. First of all, what do you make of that? And what do you make of it, especially in the light of this potential air attack on the Azerbaijan commercial aircraft?
Well, I think Trump is already getting a cold dose of reality. That there was never a possibility that he was going to end it in 24 hours. What he was doing when he said he was going to end it was playing right into Putin's hands, because now Putin knows that the longer he drags this out, the worse the position is that Trump is in, and that the only leverage Trump has, he has no leverage over Putin, is over the Ukrainians. So Trump could pull support for the Ukrainians. But of course, Europe can support the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians can pursue this on their own. And I think what we're going to end up with is a long, complicated negotiation in which Putin plays a really tough line and says he wants not only all the territory, but he doesn't want Ukraine and NATO. He doesn't want Ukraine and Europe or part of the EU. And so I think this is going to go on for months and months. And it's just going to be another one of those promises like getting Mexico to build the wall that never materializes.
What do you think the potential appointment of Tulsi Gabbard, who is, if not a Russian asset, someone who has inclinations towards Putin, rise in your mind to the wackiest idea? Because they all seem pretty insane. But secondly, what do you think is behind the new American imperialism this week in particular?
I don't know. I think it was something he maybe ate over Christmas. This is kooky. Taking over Canada, going to war with Canada. That's from a South Park cartoon, right? This is South Park level foreign policy. You know how long Denmark has controlled Greenland? Since the year 1380. Okay, they've controlled Greenland for 700 years. The United States, even when we built the Panama Canal, said we were going to promote Panamanian independence, and our claims to the canal over the course of the century that we were there were very weak indeed, and that's why ultimately we signed it away. This is not going to materialize into anything except effect, alienating our allies and making the president of the United States look like a buffoon.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been some Christmas ham, I guess, if that's what it led him to, right? I mean, and part of me wants to try it myself. What would happen? David Rothkopf, thank you for taking time away from roasting chestnuts over an open fire to join me tonight. Really appreciate the wisdom and thoughts.
My pleasure.
We will be right back.
One of those soccer, swim, and softball after school kind of days, huh? Don't stress. HelloFresh has dinner covered. With tons of delicious recipes you can pull together in no time, no matter what your week looks like. So even on a barely time to eat type of day, you can still get a homemade meal on the table that the whole family will love. HelloFresh, homemade, made easy.
We had such a great experience with Empire. We would recommend it to anyone.
Real customers share their stories about Empire today.
As a matter of fact, we already have. Customer service and the personal touch was really where it's at. The quality, too, is important to us, and the quality of the flooring was great. I mean, we've had people come in our home and say, wow, this is really beautiful. Where'd you have it done? Empire.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today. Time is running out to give a year-end gift like no other. A gift that can help St. Jude Children's Research Hospital save lives.
These kids, they've done nothing wrong in the world, and they end up having to go through all of this to survive. Your donation, it means everything.
Please don't wait until the last minute. Make a difference by supporting the children of St. Jude. Please donate now.
Whether you need to lose 10, 20, 50, or over 100 pounds, make the healthy choice with Golo. Head to Golo.com. That's Golo.com.
If you have high blood pressure or diabetes and get a cough, cold, or flu, Safe Tussin is specially formulated for you. Powerful, safe, and effective cough, cold, and flu relief that's formulated so it won't raise your blood pressure or impact your blood sugar. Play it safe with Safe Tussin.
One law firm, Klein & Spector, has won some of the biggest verdicts in American history. So if a defective product, motor vehicle accident, or medical malpractice caused a catastrophic injury, contact Klein & Spector.
At BetMGM, everyone gets a welcome offer. So whether you're courtside trying to hit the over or up here trying to hit the under, or hitting that win with your crew. Oh, yeah, the defense. All the way up here with a same-game parlay. Yeah! BetMGM's got your back. Get your welcome offer and play with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Oh, this easy. Really?
Get up to a $1,500 new customer offer and bonus bets when you sign up now. BetMGM. Download and bet today.
Dexcom G7 sends your glucose numbers to your phone and watch, so you can always see where you're heading without finger sticks. Dexcom G7 is the most accurate CGM, so you can manage your diabetes with confidence.
We need a small business loan fast.
I got this.
Loan cannon!
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Small steps, like a tap, a new part of your routine, or a moment for you, can come together to make big changes for your weight loss, hair loss, anxiety, and more. Get a personalized treatment plan 100% online at forhers.com.
Menopause was hell. I really saw someone who I didn't recognize. So many mood swings, and I had terrible hot flashes, probably dozens a day.
After I found Alloy, I felt a huge sense of relief. Alloy offers science-backed menopause treatments delivered to your door. With medication and expert doctor care, 95% of women felt relief within 2 weeks.
Alloy has been completely game-changing.
Find relief at myalloy.com.
MSNBC Premium gives you early access and ad-free listening to Rachel Maddow's chart-topping series, MSNBC Original Podcasts, exclusive bonus content, and all of your favorite MSNBC shows now ad-free. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
This show began and continues being the place where you can go to have the hard conversations.
Morning Joe, weekdays 6 to 10 on MSNBC.
Welcome back to our special 2-hour edition of Alex Wagner tonight. As we head into a new year and into Trump's second term in office, one of the things we have to think about completely differently this time around is America's legal system. Donald Trump began 2024 as a defendant in 4 separate criminal cases in which he faced up to 91 felony counts, and with them the potential that he would end this year, 2024, in prison. Instead, he is ending the year as the president-elect of the United States, having avoided almost all accountability, while he has also fundamentally changed our nation's legal landscape. This year, Trump became the first former president in U.S. history to be convicted of a crime. He was found guilty of 34 felony counts in the state of New York. But now the sentencing in that case has been delayed indefinitely. Then down in Georgia, Trump started the year facing criminal conspiracy charges from Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who brought her case against Trump for his attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election in that state. Earlier this month, DA Willis was removed from that case, and while she is appealing that decision, the likelihood of her prosecution against Trump continuing, the likelihood of that seems very slim. At the federal level, Trump started this year with special counsel Jack Smith prosecuting him for election interference in 2020 and for the mishandling of classified documents after Trump left the White House. Now, not only has special counsel Jack Smith dropped both of those cases, but the Supreme Court has given Trump considerably more power than he had before. In a hearing about the federal election interference case before